does each Christian have a specific angel assigned to him or her? And what is the responsibility of the angels? Now, so angels, that was the one that was written. Do we have angels assigned to us, and what are their responsibilities? The first verse I think of is Hebrews 1:14, and you might want to look there in your Bible. And it says in Hebrews 1:14 something very interesting. This is before, well, there's a lot of ways you can take this, but I personally interpret it this way. Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for those who will inherit salvation? So it appears that there are angels assigned that watch over the heirs of salvation. And I personally believe it's before and after you're saved. In fact, I believe that the Lord knows those that are His, and the devil is trying to thwart the plan. And I believe that the Lord watches over people that aren't even saved yet, that He knows are going to come to Him. They are heirs of salvation. So that's the first one I think of. And yes, there are angels. By the way, angel, I mean, it's very hard to just answer one little thing. You know that there are 7 types of bad angels, and probably there are 7 types of good angels. But the bottom rank of angels, they're messengers. Angelos, the word angelos, literally means a messenger. So the basic level, probably the majority of angels are these messenger types. And then among the bad ones on this side, demons are these fallen messengers. But then, you know, that there are all these different ones that are mentioned, and when we were in Job, I told you about that, and the most powerful one, of course, is Lucifer, that's a cherub. So we know exactly what Satan looks like. He has 4 faces, and he's covered with eyes, and all that. But among the good angels, the messengers are these, and they are messengers of God. They watch over heirs. Now, another verse to look at is in Matthew. Jesus said something very interesting in Matthew. In fact, if you look at Matthew 18:10, the Lord, I mean, it's intriguing to study this. And if you ever really want to study, there's a whole chapter in systematic theology that we're studying as deacons and elders by Wayne Grudem on angels, and he really teaches an awful lot about demons. Most of us have no understanding of how the constant occultic overtones in our movies and the games. You know, I mean, I remember when Dungeons and Dragons, you know, people were playing that game and the role playing and all that, and people started getting alarmed because of the suicides and all the crazy stuff going on. It's because they had no idea of the interest demons have in any occultic activity. They are there like flies and like hornets on sweet stuff. And so with the advent of so much with the internet and movies, demonism is growing. And by the time we get to Revelation 9, it says that people are worshiping demons in the middle of the tribulation. And they would rather worship a demon than the Creator God. And they will curse the living and true God who's sending the plagues and cling to the demons. That's how powerful demons are. But Matthew 18:10, and let me just read, this is fascinating. It says, "Take heed that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I say to you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven." Their angels. It's interesting. Jesus seems to imply that in Matthew 18 that little people, children, have their angel, theirs. Isn't that interesting? That there's almost an assignment, and there are probably billions, if not more, angels. Because the Greek language, the highest number in Greek, they aren't so refined as us to have all of our, billion, trillion, quadrillion, octillion, all that stuff. They just had the word myriads. And when they start talking about angels, they go myriads of myriads. Kind of like astronomy. It used to be people looked at the sky and said, countless as the stars. And then they looked up and they found out there's 8,000 of them visible to the human eye. But when they started in the 17th century, the Dutch started polishing lenses, and they made the first telescopes and started looking out there. They found out that some of those 8,000 dots were galaxies. And then as they increased the telescopes, they found out that what they thought, first it was a star, then they found it was a galaxy, then they found out it was a cluster of galaxies. And so the more they look, in fact, they just found the most ancient and most densely part of the universe with galaxies, and they were just talking about that about 2-3 months ago. It's kind of like this. What we used to think was a myriad, 8,000, became galaxies, which became billions, which became billions of billions. And so myriads of myriads we say 10,000 times 10,000, which is hundreds of millions. But actually it doesn't say that in the Bible. It says that there are myriads of angels. So it's very possible that not only is there one angel for every person on the earth, there's still all those myriads that never move and stay around the throne. There's a whole group of them that all they do is stand around the throne and they're bowing the whole time. They don't seem to move. Other than bowing. So angels, yes. Are they assigned? Yes. Specifically, and I could go through many others, they're assigned to the heirs of salvation. They're assigned to the little people. There's the angels that ministered to Christ. He didn't just have one. It says angels came and ministered to him. There are the archangels that come back and forth with messages from God. Their responsibility is just basically to serve the Lord. And that's the good side. And the bad side, their responsibility is just to mess things up. And they love being worshiped. And that's why horoscopes and Ouija boards and tarot cards and, black ball and any occultic stuff invites demons. And they can't inhabit believers, but they can certainly throw a lot of fiery darts in. And if you've ever had something that just hit you and you never thought of that before, and it was just like, right in the middle of singing Holy, 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 you just have the vilest thought, and it just a jolt of almost murderous anger. See, we have to realize that the fiery darts of the evil one are very much the realm, and that's why it says in Ephesians 4, we're supposed to close the door to these. And you ought to read in Ephesians 4 what opens the door to them. Lying opens the door to the underworld. Lust. You know how many young people are being buffeted by demons because they're watching these movies that are, they're just PG-13. They only have a little bit of immorality in them. Demons are like flies for immorality. Wherever it's being allowed in the mind, they start their beachhead there. So that's the bad side. The good side is they're watching over and protecting us.